Ngozi's Instagram told a story of perfection, romantic date nights, surprise gifts, and vacations that made her followers green with envy. Every picture of her and Chike looked like something out of a Nollywood fairy tale. Friends envied her life, calling her the luckiest woman alive. But behind those smiling photos, a storm brewed silently. Chike was everything Ngozi prayed for. Tall, wealthy, and handsome, with a voice that could calm a raging sea. He came from a respectable family in Enugu and built a thriving real estate business in Lagos. From the outside, theirs was a love made in heaven. But heaven was about to turn into hell. Ngozi's mother often warned her, "My daughter, social media love is not real love. Be careful what you show the world." But Ngozi only laughed, brushing it off as old-fashioned advice. After all, Chike treated her like a queen, or so it seemed. She was blind to the little signs, the secretive phone calls, the late-night business meetings that didn't add up, the sudden mood swings that made her heart skip with fear. Something was changing, and Ngozi couldn't figure out what, until that fateful night. The night that marked the beginning of a nightmare that would make headlines across Nigeria. Ngozi woke up to the sound of Chike's voice whispering in the dark. At first, she thought he was talking in his sleep, but when she listened closely, she realized he was on the phone. His tone was sharp, nothing like the sweet voice that usually told her goodnight. "What do you mean the deal is off?" he hissed. "I can't risk everything because of one mistake. We have to finish what we started." Ngozi froze, her heart pounding like a drum. What deal? What mistake? She held her breath, hoping he wouldn't notice she was awake. Chike ended the call abruptly, and for a moment the room was silent except for his heavy breathing. Then, slowly, he turned toward her. Ngozi quickly shut her eyes, pretending to be asleep. She felt his gaze linger on her face longer than usual, like he was studying her. Her mind raced with questions, but fear kept her lips sealed. Who was he talking to? Why did he sound so desperate? And why did his tone make her feel like her life had just become a ticking bomb? She didn't know it yet, but that phone call was the beginning of something that would lead her to a shallow grave, alive. Ngozi needed someone to talk to, and as always, she turned to her best friend, Amaka. They had been inseparable since university days, and Amaka was the only one Ngozi trusted with her secrets, or so she thought. As they sat at a posh restaurant in Lekki, Ngozi lowered her voice. "Amaka, something is wrong with Chike. He's been acting strange. Secret calls, late nights, and last night I heard him talking about a deal going wrong." Amaka's eyes widened with interest, but behind that concerned look was something darker, something Ngozi couldn't see. Amaka said slowly, sipping her wine. "Maybe it's just business stress. You know, men don't like to share their problems." But deep down, Amaka's mind was spinning. She had always admired Chike, too much. Ngozi had what she always wanted: the perfect husband, the wealth, the life. And now she sensed an opportunity. Instead of calming Ngozi's fears, Amaka began feeding them. "Ngozi, be careful. Men hide things, big things. What if he's into something illegal? Or worse, what if he's cheating?" That thought stabbed Ngozi like a knife, and she felt her stomach twist. Amaka smiled inwardly. If Chike was cheating, maybe, just maybe, that woman could be her. 2 weeks later, Ngozi received a strange message on WhatsApp from an unknown number. The text read, "Your husband is not who you think he is. If you want to live, don't trust him." Her hands trembled as she read it over and over. At first, she thought it was a prank, but the message came with a picture: Chike sitting in a car with a woman Ngozi had never seen before. Her heart sank. Who was this woman, and why did the message sound like a death threat? She tried calling the number, but it didn't go through. It felt like something out of a thriller movie, only this was her life. That night, Ngozi confronted Chike. "Who is she?" she asked, shoving the phone in his face. Chike barely flinched. He stared at her with cold eyes she had never seen. "Delete that number, Ngozi, and don't ever bring this up again." His voice was so calm it sent chills down her spine. "What's going on?" Chike whispered. But he walked away without another word. For the first time, Ngozi realized something terrifying. This was not the man she married, and somewhere deep inside her, a voice whispered, "Run before it's too late." Determined to find out the truth, Ngozi began snooping around the house whenever Chike was out. One evening, curiosity led her to the attic, a place she had never bothered to check before. Dust filled the air as she opened the old wooden door. At first, everything seemed normal. Old boxes, suitcases, forgotten furniture. But then she saw a small metal trunk tucked in the corner, secured with a heavy padlock. Something about it made her heart race. She searched the house for a key but couldn't find one, so she did the unthinkable. She broke it open with a hammer. Inside were photographs. Dozens of them. But these were not family pictures. They were pictures of women, different women, smiling, posing, unaware of what fate awaited them. And then, buried beneath them all, was a picture of Ngozi, her wedding day photo. On the back, written in neat handwriting, were the words, "Soon." Ngozi dropped the picture, her body trembling violently. What did "soon" mean? Why were these women in the trunk? She grabbed some of the photos and ran downstairs, her breath coming in short gasps. For the first time, Ngozi realized she might be married to a monster. Meanwhile, Amaka was getting more entangled in Chike's world. Ever since Ngozi confided in her, Amaka had been secretly reaching out to Chike behind her friend's back. It started with harmless check-ins, "Hope you're okay," but soon turned into late-night calls, playful texts, and promises she had no business making. She told herself she was only trying to help her friend, but deep down, she wanted Chike for herself. She wanted the life Ngozi had. And now that she knew there was trouble in paradise, she saw an opportunity to slip into the cracks and claim what she believed should have been hers all along. "Chike," she whispered during one of their secret calls, "if Ngozi is stressing you, you know you can talk to me." Chike didn't reply immediately, but when he did, his voice was low and dangerous. "Amaka, you don't know what you're playing with." But instead of scaring her away, her words only fueled her obsession. She wanted him even more. Little did Amaka know, the game she was playing was far more deadly than she imagined. Because soon, someone would end up in a shallow grave, and it might not be Ngozi. The next morning, Ngozi woke up to an empty bed. Chike was gone, and so was his phone. At first, she thought he left early for work, but when she called his office, they said he hadn't shown up in 2 days. Her stomach churned with fear. Where was he? While pacing around the living room, she heard the news on TV. A woman's body had been found in a shallow grave near Ikarudo. The headline flashed, "Another mystery killing rocks Lagos. Serial killer suspected." Ngozi's blood ran cold. She grabbed her phone and checked the photos she took from the attic. One of the women on the news was in the pictures. Her legs buckled, and she collapsed on the couch, her mind spinning. Was Chike a killer? No, it couldn't be. He loved her. He couldn't possibly. But then she remembered the photo of herself with "soon" written on the back. Fear gripped her throat. She had to get out. But just as she picked up her car keys, the door opened and Chiken walked in, his shirt stained with something dark, and when he smiled, it didn't reach his eyes. "Where are you going, Ngozi?" Chike's voice was calm, but there was an edge to it that made her freeze. She forced a smile and said, "Just to see Amaka." He stared at her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Okay, but don't stay out too long. You know I worry about you." As he walked past her, she caught the faint metallic scent of blood on his shirt. Her heart pounded so hard she thought he could hear it. She rushed out of the house and drove straight to Amaka's. When Amaka opened the door, Ngozi burst into tears. "Amaka, I think Chike is killing women. I found pictures, and now one of them is dead." Amaka widened her eyes in shock, but behind the mask of sympathy, her mind was already plotting. If Chike was that dangerous, maybe Ngozi would end things, and she could take her place. "Calm down," Amaka said soothingly. "Maybe you're overthinking it. Men can be weird sometimes. But Ngozi wasn't listening. She was terrified, and the only thing she could think of was running away. Amaka, however, had other plans that would destroy everything. That night, Ngozi couldn't sleep. She decided to dig deeper into Chike's past. She went through old files, bank statements, and emails. What she found made her skin crawl. Chike had been married before, not once, but twice, and both wives, they had vanished. Her hands shook as she read the articles. Young woman missing after wedding in Enugu, and another, police still searching for newlywed disappearance. Both cases were unsolved, and in the wedding photos, Chike stood smiling, the same smile he wore on their wedding day. Ngozi's breath came in sharp gasps. She married a man who buried women alive. Her mind screamed